everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. My name is Shola, as you know, and we're joined today by Nancy. Hi, Nancy. How are you? You're welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me, Shola.
We're just going to do a short introduction. So, Nancy, I know a little bit about you because I've read your bio, and I've tried to get acquainted to what you do. But I'm just going to ask you this question so that you can introduce yourself. So I know that after 35 years in the corporate world, you took a creative leap into glass hat. Yeah.
Yes.
So can you tell us more about that?
Oh, sure. So I found myself in corporate for most of my career. And I was with small companies and big companies, Sony Pictures, Columbia Pictures, ABC Entertainment,
Mm.
Toshiba, IBM. I mean, big corporations for the most part. And I moved around. I changed jobs quite a bit because I love to learn. And I loved being helpful. I needed to have roles where I could make a difference.
Right.
And the last company I was in was working for my husband in his network infrastructure company, which is taking care of all the networking that's in the walls and everything that you don't see that connects all the computers together, the security and all of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I ended up working in the role of a chief operating officer and taking care of accounting and all of the internal workings of the company. And he
Right.
decided to sell the company. He was ready to retire, and I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And I came across Fuse Glass, and I fell in love with it. And there wasn't a studio nearby, so I opened my own.
Oh, wow. That's a very big leap. Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So how has it been since you opened your own?
Well, I opened 5 weeks before COVID, so not the best business decision, but who knew?
So,
And it's now about 5 years later, and I am here doing extremely well, loving it beyond my wildest dreams.
oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Can you tell us a little bit more about it though? What does it entail?
Well, fused glass, which a lot of people have not heard of,
Yeah,
is not blown glass, which is hot glass. It's
right.
considered warm glass. It's also called kiln carving, and you make it at room temperature.
Okay.
And you are relaxed and comfortable, and it's not like you see with blown glass where you have to constantly be moving.
Okay.
It is putting pieces together,
Hmm.
and then they go into a kiln similar to a ceramics kiln, but the heating elements are a little bit different places, and it goes up to 14 or 1500 degrees.
Right.
Glass blowing is about 2000 degrees.
Hmm.
So, and I run my kilns at night. No one's here. The electric rates are lower. And when we open the kilns in the morning, it's like Christmas morning because these beautiful pieces have arrived.
Oh my God, how interesting. I've never heard of it before. This is my first time of hearing. Um, but then you share that you initially doubted your artistic talent. Yeah, when I was reading your,
Yes,
you doubted it, but then you overcame that self-doubt and embraced that creative process. How did you do?
yes.
How did you do that?
Well, why I doubted myself, I'll go there first. My sister and my dad could pick up a pencil, a pen, crayon, and they would make beautiful art.
Okay.
And they could doodle. My doodle looked like, well, let's just say it wasn't attractive in any way, shape, or form. And I tried a lot of different mediums, and none of them resonated with me. And so I didn't find joy in them. I kind of felt it was almost a chore to try to do them.
Mhm.
And that wasn't what I was looking for. And it was my mom that got me into fuse glass, not intentionally, but she's at an assisted living facility here in Southern California, and
Right.
they offered classes in fuse glass. And
Wow.
she was enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to take class. This is going to be something I'm going to do with my mom. We can have fun with this together. Won't this be great? And self-doubt. Wow. My mindset. I was like a child who did not want to go and into the doctor's office. I mean, my heels were in the ground. I was not going to go in. And I stopped and realized how absolutely ridiculous that sounded, how ridiculous I was behaving.
Yeah.
Um, and I did a mindset refresh on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I doing this? I'm doing it for my mom.
Right.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't do a very nice piece. What's
Right.
the best thing that can happen? My mom and I are going to have a great time no matter what. Gee, I'm ready to take that class. I'm just changing the perception of what was going on and taking my mindset, I call it my ego, and
Ego.
saying, shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you stopping yourself?
Yeah.
Why are you not giving yourself? And, I did the talk back and forth. Well, because you're not creative. Well, so what? But what do you do now? It was that kind of back and forth and back and forth. And you know what? I realized how absolutely crazy it was not to give it a chance. And boy, am I glad I went that direction.
God, that is so great. I'm sure your mom, she's very proud of you, I'm very sure.
Oh, she is. And I did beautiful art. Even my very first pieces, I couldn't believe how really pretty they were.
Right.
And I found a different studio for a little while and worked there. It was a little closer. And there was just terrific energy in the room. The people were terrific. And my creativity just it exploded. It was just I couldn't get enough, and I loved all of it, and I felt better than I had in years, and I embraced it
Oh,
completely.
oh my God, that is so nice to hear. What was it then? I mean, what was it about, fused glass heart that drew you in? And how does it reflect your personality and your approach to life?
So, um, not all for anybody who's on YouTube, you can see pictures behind me.
Yeah,
Um, some of these are mine, some of them are other students in the studio, but
yeah.
some of them are very well defined. They're kind of structured pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and other pieces are more organic. And on any particular day, I could be anywhere on the spectrum. And it's one of the things that I particularly love about fused glass
Right.
is I don't always have to be structured. Don't always have to be abstract. I can be any colors I want. I can go outside my normal colors and I can create a beautiful piece of art. I cannot not create a beautiful piece of art. I have tried. I have put colors together that I thought would never go together. I mean, I pushed the envelope. During COVID, I had a lot of free time to play. And I took advantage of challenging myself and challenging the glass. And we became best of friends.
Oh my God, you and glass, you became best of friends. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. This
Well,
infused, is it broken glass? How do you make it?
you can use broken glass, but for the most part, I use special glass that is called from Bullseye Glass Company. It's glass that can be fused at the high temperatures. There's
Oh,
other manufacturers as well,
mhm.
but I use Bullseye, one, because it's US based, and two, I just really like the quality of their glass,
Yeah,
and I like working with them as a corporation.
right.
So I have very clearly defined ways to break glass. So it's really not cutting glass. You can't take a pair of scissors and cut it, but you can do what we call scoring, which is creating a small scratch in the glass, which
Right.
weakens the glass.
Mhm.
And then we have special pliers that have a little curve on the bottom. So the
Right.
glass is sitting in between,
Mhm.
and it helps to separate where you put the weak spot in the glass.
Glass.
And it is the greatest feeling when it breaks the way you want. And when it doesn't, you usually laugh because you
Right.
can still use it.
Right.
If if I had a piece I accidentally dropped, not that that ever happens, but we accidentally broke something that we had done, we
Yeah.
can refire it and make it into something else.
Okay.
So we call that making lemonade because you take what looks like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, look what happened, and you
Mhm.
make something new out of it.
Ah, wow. That is interesting. That is interesting. So it's just like recycling glass instead of throwing them away.
It's like it's doing that, but it's using the specific glass. So wine bottles can be fused, but
Hmm.
the type of glass is what is the big thing. So glass has a rate at which it expands and contracts.
Okay.
And so all of the bullseye glass
Mhm.
does it at the same.
All
So if
right.
I have one glass that does it at a different rate than another, it's
Yeah.
going to crack the glass in the kiln. It's just going to break it,
Oh,
unfortunately. So it's
okay.
really important to make sure that the glass is compatible. Wine bottles are not even all made out of the same compatibility glass.
Wow.
So you can make something with the same wine bottle, but you can't make it mixing wine bottles and be sure that you're going to get a good piece. So
Mm.
there's a lot of little complexities to it,
Mhm.
but once you understand them,
Mhm.
it's really easy to work with it.
Easy to work with it. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. With your background in human resources, because in your corporate world, that was what you were doing. The and other business roles that you've actually held as well. How did those experiences shape the founding and the growth of Glass Hearts Collective?
Well, as silly as it sounds, one of the best things that I learned that
Yeah.
I had as a superpower
Mhm.
is questioning something that made no sense at all.
Oh,
So, as an example, I took over doing the the operations of the IT department at Sony Pictures,
yeah.
and one of the things I had to do was I had to create the budgets, and it was the largest budget outside of a feature film. So there's a lot of work in there, and I wanted to make sure I could explain any piece of it. So I put a lot of work into documenting and researching what everything was and
Mhm.
why we were using it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I had to create
Mm.
was payroll. Okay, that's pretty set straightforward. You put in the person's name, you put in their hire date, you put in what their salary is, and then I'm told just give everybody the same percentage.
Oh, oh.
Well, not everyone's going to get the same percentage on an increase in the year. Some people might not get a review, some people are going to get promoted. How do you manage to a budget that is no longer black and white?
Exactly.
So I called and I said, okay, I know I'm new at this, but I get to ask all the questions. And I
Mm.
did, and they agreed with me. They said, you're right. We've been frustrated by this for years. Um, I said, well, I'm the newbie at this. Who do I need to talk to?
Yeah.
And they told me, and I called the person, explained to him my situation and why I mean, so I was like, okay, why do this the way we're told we had to do it? And it
Yeah.
did make sense to me. And I was told I had to get approval for the company to change.
Okay.
And he goes, well, who do I need to talk to? And I
Mhm.
was dead silent. And he
Oh,
laughed. He goes, I'm the person, isn't it? And I said, yes, you are. And I said, I can tell you who you need to call and their phone number so we can fix this company wide.
right.
And um, it's just little things like that that, you know what, somebody could tell me, tough, you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe somebody will say, yay, somebody's finally questioning it and willing to step forward and ask for change. And I've had I've been blessed. I've had many of those opportunities where I could make a difference. And
Okay.
not all of them were big. Not, a lot of them were little things. But you know what? I learned how to question things. So with that and the other jobs I've had, when I came to the studio, one, because of my background, I knew how to run a business. So
Uh,
that was the first and most important thing. I knew how to run a business
mhm.
and I knew how to question glass. I had a lot of conversations with glass. Why do people tell me I have to do it this way? And I laugh. There's a phrase that says, they say.
Mhm.
And I'm like, who are they? Who has the right to say that this is what I have to do and why?
Mhm.
And so I questioned it to the glass.
Right.
And the glass said, I dare you. Just do it. Do it your way.
Ah,
Just do it. Do
that's
it
you
whatever
having
you
a
want.
conversation with
I'll
the
prove
glass.
you one way or the other. And I
Okay.
did.
Mhm.
And I learned some of the things they said are correct.
Right.
And many of the things I've been told aren't. And again, it's what everyone's been taught and told, and it works for you whichever way. That's great. I am not trying to tell anybody they have to do it differently. But in my studio, I open it up to my open studio members to do push the envelope, try it. And
Mhm.
we'll all support each other and we'll watch somebody trying to do it differently. And how well does that work? And we get so much joy here in the studio.
Wow. Wow. Ah. Oh my God, you've pushed the boundaries a lot with glass, I can say.
Yes. And being one of the things I think I also learned in corporate was how important communication is,
Mhm.
how important we can all sit in a room with anything, be told instructions, and we'll all hear something slightly different.
Yes.
Even if the instructions are written out, when
Mhm.
you go to work, you perceived it differently.
That's true.
And so one of the things I really try to help is, and I've done that in corporate as well, is trying to help to ensure that the teams all know and we are all working in the same direction.
Hmm.
I never let a performance review go till a year later. I
Right.
made sure if somebody wasn't on track, they were just a little off, adjust it right away. Just a little communication. Hey, we're just off track a little bit. Let's get back on track together. Help me understand what you're thinking, and then I can help you understand what I'm thinking, and together we'll get it to the right place because they could be right and I could have been wrong.
That'd be wrong.
I
That's
don't want to assume it had to be my way. That's why I want to hear their perception first.
yeah.
So I learned that it's absolutely important to always understand everything has more than two stories.
Everything in this world has more than two stories. You're very, very true. That's very true. You're someone who has actually traveled to all the 50 states in America. Oh my God, how did you do that?
Mostly by car. I have to admit, I flew to Hawaii and I flew to Alaska, but
Oh,
most of it was all by car and taking
wow.
road trips and wanting to see the beautiful country we live in. And I've been blessed to travel through a lot of other countries as well. I do not have a goal for all the continents. I did have a goal for all the states. Um, and I am, I just can't believe how beautiful our world is
Mhm.
and how diverse it is and how kind people are everywhere and how there's bad apples everywhere. But you know what? In the big picture, we have an amazing world we live in.
That is very true. We have an amazing world that we live in. Oh my goodness. But how has this influenced your artistic vision and work though? You're traveling. Did you tap into anything that influenced, you being so
Oh,
artistic?
absolutely. Designs and colors. And I love sunsets. I love clouds. I love waterfalls. I love flowers. I love trees. I love architecture. I love design. So I came back from Fiji with some really cool, just geometric designs that I started doing and doing it with different colors and modifying what was in the designs. I would put things in them. They weren't that way in Fiji, but I just took it and made it mine. And but I was inspired by Fiji. I was inspired by the blue waters of uh, Tahiti and the Adriatic Sea. And oh my gosh, I could just go on and on and on.
Your Dewey's approach is inspiring, obviously. What advice would you give to those who are, inspiring to take that leap into the unknown and pursue their own passion?
Well, I have to tell you, I have just done it many times
Mhm.
and found that that wasn't the right path for me. But you
Oh,
know what? I was really glad I tried because now there's no doubt in my mind. So
right.
I've done many different things that could have been a career,
Mhm.
but it wasn't the right one for me. But I felt so good for trying. I never looked at it as a failure or a mistake. I just looked at it as being not my passion. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And
Mm,
some of them took months to get through some training programs,
right.
but I didn't dislike the training programs. I didn't dislike what I learned. It just wasn't the path I wanted to actually follow. So don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to allow that ego to stop you from doing something that you think might be great. And you
Mm.
know what? You won't be sorry.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have you got any inspiring advice for people watching us today?
Well, I definitely think you should check out Fused Glass. I would love everyone to come to my studio, but not everybody's located, obviously, anywhere nearby. But Fused Glass is around the world, and it is a fun hobby, and just even to go with friends and do it once.
Mhm.
But if it's not glass that's exciting to you, find something as a hobby. Find something of art that you can do. And art is a very vast word. Art is not just painting or just ceramics or not just anything. I mean, dancing, music, writing, doodling, something that you can do even for 15 minutes a week
Mhm.
and mindset and calming and the joy that it brings you of relaxing and changing what's stressing you out.
Yeah.
That's the best time to do it. It's just take your mind off of whatever it is that you're struggling with and do something else. Just even for 15 minutes.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us today. How
Oh,
can
thank
they
you.
get to your studio? How can they get to your studio and how can they contact you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So Glass Arts with an S collective.com is my website. It's
Uh,
my Instagram handle. It's
uh,
my Facebook handle.
uh,
And at Glass Arts Collective is my YouTube channel.
oh,
So plenty of ways to reach me. If you want to email me and ask me questions, I'm happy to help and point you in the right direction if I can. Info at glassartscollective.com. So um, I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to just hear other people's stories. If you just want to share, you're shy and you don't want to be, talking to your friends, you want to talk to somebody else, I'm here for you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Shiloh. This has been so much fun.
Yes, it has been. And I've actually learned so much from you in the world of glass. Some things that I don't even know exist in the world of glass. So thank you so much for coming on our show today. And I'm sure you've inspired people out there to actually go out and do things that is their passion. Yeah, things that is their passion and that can make them happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And until next time, it's Shola and Nancy on Mission to Inspire. We hope that we've inspired you today, and thank you for joining us. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Subscribe if you haven't done so. Like, follow, comment. Until next time. Goodbye.